7. Yep. What's up, Steve? Okay, it is now 7 o'clock, and we will call this meeting to order. I know, I need one. I feel like I needed one at the Belknap County one the other night. All right, meeting is called to order. Councilor Hildreth, would you like to lead us in a salute to the flag and pledge allegiance?
Absolutely. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Katie Gargano is our recording secretary. Would you like to call the roll, please?
Councilor Hildreth,
Yes, here.
Councilor Susie,
Present.
Councilor Hoffman,
Present.
Councilor Haynes,
Here.
Councilor Bogert,
Here.
Councilor Conan,
Here.
Mayor Boards.
I am here. We also have Kirk Biotti, the city manager, and Glenn is here. I'm going to change things up a little bit for the moment. Former Mayor Paul Fitzgerald had passed away. He did 2 terms as mayor in the city of Laconia from 92 to 96, and I would appreciate if we could all do a brief moment of silence for him. Thank you. Next up, we have the acceptance of the minutes from the January 26, 2026 meeting. Did everybody have an opportunity to go over those? Yes. With no corrections or changes submitted to the clerk, the minutes will be accepted as distributed. Do I have a motion for that?
Motion.
Councilor Conan, do I have a second? Councilor Hildreth. All in favor? I don't think we need a discussion on that one. Okay. Next up, we have consent and action items. We have a request from Lakes Region Sled Dog Club to waive their license, vendor, and loudspeaker fees. This is a recurring request with no changes from the prior year. Approvals, special events application, and map of the event, oh my God, what is going on tonight? Were received from the Lakes Region Sled Dog Club as attached. Special Events Review Committee approved this event at the February 4th, 2026 meeting. If the waiver of fees request is not approved by the City Council, the fees would be as follows. Special event license and vendor fees are $700, and the loudspeaker fee is $10.
I'll make a motion that we waive the fees and let them move ahead.
All right, I move to approve the request for Lakes Region Sled Dog Club to waive license, vendor, and loudspeaker fees for the February 13th to 15th, 2026 Sled Dog event. Representative Susie already, Councilor Susie, oh my God, got to get used to that, made the motion, and Councilor Conan seconded it. Do we have any discussion on this? I just want to make sure, is this a nonprofit?
Yes, it is a nonprofit organization. In fact, I think, Tony's not here, but Mark maybe be able to help me out, the city manager will. I believe the funds that they raise, I think they give them the children's auction, or they do something with it, don't they?
I haven't looked into their status nor what they do. I just haven't done any research on that, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Mayor?
Of course.
Is there anybody in the audience from, please come? If that's all right with you, Mr.
Yes, no, that's perfectly fine.
Hi.
Can you help me answer that question,
Yeah, of
ma'am?
course. So we have given to the children's auction. I'm Jennifer Hollows. I'm the president of the Lakes Region Sled Dog Club. We've given to the children's auction in past years, especially years where we don't have a race. We'll donate to them. But all the fundraising goes towards putting the event on, and also helps us create the purse for the mushers to attract the mushers to our event.
Are you a nonprofit organization?
Yes, we are.
Registered that way?
Yes. Yep.
That answers the question.
That answers my
sorry.
question. Thank you for all you do.
Yes,
I
no
appreciate
problem.
it.
Thank you.
Excellent event.
Thank you.
I'm glad you have a lot of snow this year.
Me too. Yes, thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor? 6-0. Perfect. You guys are too easy with this. I'm used to like some division. All right, next up, we have citizens' comments for matters not on the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, Councilors, Patrick Wood, Ward 1. I happened to read the minutes of the last city council meeting, and I learned something that really caused me to be very concerned, and that is that the Liberty Utilities has indicated they're not going to issue any more permits for connections, apparently in Laconia, because for decades they've known they didn't have adequate capacity, and now they're saying we're going to stop. That's going to cause serious, irreparable damage to the city of Laconia. Just think of all the projects that are in the pipeline right now. One that is huge is the Laconia Village. Without natural gas, those projects aren't going to happen. All the condominium projects, all the housing projects that have been proposed, they're not going to happen. Laconia is going to come to a standstill. This is not the time for a letter to the governor. This is a time for all hands on deck. We need to seriously take action to keep this from happening. I can't imagine that a company who's a public utility overseen by the state of New Hampshire would allow this situation to arise without at least letting the city of Laconia know decades ago when they found out about the problem that there's something that needs to be done. I'm not sure what the answer is, but a letter to the governor is not going to solve this. We need to do something substantially more powerful than that. So I'm absolutely frightened for the future of Laconia to hear this, that one company can shut us down. That's not right. So that's my concern, and as I say, I'm not sure what the answer is, but I know we need to do something, and we need to do it quickly. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody else?
I'd like to stop by apologizing. I know this is probably just a little blurb on the big picture of Laconia for all of you, but this is like a huge part of my life, and it's a huge problem. I don't sleep at night thinking about this. I was here a month ago asking about a house
Could
being
you
built in front of
identify
my...
yourself for the record?
Richard Mason. I was here a month ago asking about this, whatever, and outside of a letter from the fire department and me filling out an appeals thing, which the town doesn't really even know how the appeals process works, neither do I, but it hasn't been used in 7 years, I'm told. And I asked if I appeal it and, you know, it goes through, does it stop production of the house or stop the build of the house till it's straightened out? And nobody has any answers. I'm very concerned, but may I? Yeah.
Sure.
But this is the fire code, which some of you might know what it is, some of you don't. It states crystal clear what the laws are for minimum distances between properties. 1-story, 2-story, combustible, non-combustible. It says crystal clear here, in which I'm understood non-combustible is concrete, steel, stuff along those lines. Combustible is wood, fiberglass, plastic, stuff like that. I consider it combustible, the house they're building in front of me. minimum distance is 15 feet for a single story. They're gonna build 2 stories in front of me. It only has 6 feet. Why would they issue a permit to build a new house when it doesn't meet fire code to begin with, 2 stories high? Take a 1-story house, build a 2-story house. It's not even a house, it's a shed / office. Who would allow that? Who, pushed it through? Who said, okay, hey, let's stop, hit the brakes. You only have 6 feet here, what are we gonna do? And then, not only it's a remodel or rebuild or whatever, they give him a new permit. So he tore the whole place down, foundation, everything, started from scratch. Does that not indicate that it needs to meet all building and fire codes? I would think so. It's a brand-new house, gotta meet brand-new, all codes. It was there before, so let's just let them build it. I mean, make sense?
Thank you.
And again, I was here a month ago, I've asked questions, can't really seem to get any rock-solid answers. Maybe this has never been, addressed before.
If I might, I might just say that, when you and I have had multiple conversations over this,
And he's been great.
thank you, and you have been too to work with, but, we have the city's lawyers working on it. Building Code Board of Appeals has their own attorney that they're working with, had to get a different one, so that's being dragged us out a few days. Just because the city's lawyer can't represent the building code, it'd
Yeah, of course.
be conflict there. So, we're working on them. It's taking a few extra days. So that's kind of where that stands. I mean, there's been a lot worked on this project. It just hasn't resolved yet, either way, either for or against, it hasn't been resolved yet.
I'm reading this letter from Chief Joubert, and it says, "It has been determined that the Fire Prevention Regulation 400-7 does not apply in this situation as the intent of that regulation." Has that been looked through by an attorney, or?
Yeah, our attorney's looking at all that stuff.
Okay, because
that's in there.
I'm a little,
It's almost like an opinion. It's our opinion, it doesn't meet that, but I'm confused. And to go back to the lawyers, I've got multiple answers so far. My first answer, I forget if it was from the chief or whoever it was, they determined this is a civil matter. Okay, so I went a little bit further. Then it came back to, oh, no, it's, I think I wrote it down right here. Went from a civil matter to, it didn't apply in this situation. I mean, I got multiple answers that went through legal, the city's legal.
yes, you can, Councilor Susie.
And this is to the city manager, I think. The city council has no real authority at this point, do we?
I think the process in which it's playing out right now is its correct process. Let it go to the Building Code Board of Appeals. Like I said, both sets of attorneys are working on it. Well, one right now, and then one will be. And let it go down that path.
And as far as like a stop work, a thing like that, that's up to him and his.
That's,
students and his
there's,
lawyer, right?
our city agencies that rule on, sorry, not rule on it, that's poor terminology, that make these determinations as far as codes, they'd be the one that'd be stop work order, but they've approved it. So at this point, it's in the process where it should be.
Okay.
I'm hoping as early as, I was hoping as early as today, but the attorney, the new attorney for the Building Code Board of Appeals, who we sent them to, is unable to work with them. So that was determined on Friday. So it's going to be a few extra days before we can get one established for them, but it shouldn't take long.
In the meantime, though, the process is still moving forward. I mean, the building.
Yeah, as of right now. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Councilor Bogart.
Are we still allowing work to continue, or are they working at their own risk, or do
Yeah,
they
there's nothing.
understand
Yeah,
that-
we have not. They're very well aware of what's going on, the builders, and we have not stopped any work.
Okay.
Are they currently building?
I haven't been up. The last time I was, you may have driven by sooner. They weren't to let this sort of play out, but that was just in conversation that so he doesn't get too far ahead
Yeah.
with what he said.
Perfect.
With what he's doing.
Not only is it fire danger now, he's come back with a new plan where it slopes back toward my house, 6 feet off. Snow comes off a roof from 25 feet in the air and cascades off right into my basement. Gonna be a water problem, I don't know, possible, danger, walking by, snow coming off a roof, coming out of my basement. There's lots of safety issues. It's not safe. I think that takes precedence.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your
We will
time.
continue to look into it.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hey guys, how you doing? Doug Robinson, Ward 5. I've got something to hand out, but it's okay. Apologize for the lines on them. Downtown Laconia has a pretty good opportunity right now with the social districts. My concern is that we're all putting our money on the Colonial Theater. I've heard it a couple of times. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It's driving economic development. So I did a small survey, about 10-question survey, and I went down and I talked to 15 different storefronts, owners and operators. I think some of you are under bad information if you think that it's driving the economic development that you think it's driving. 4 out of the 5 customers that actually sent one back to me, and more that I actually talked to, said it doesn't drive foot traffic. The shows don't align with their business hours. It doesn't do what you think it does. But we do have an opportunity with this social district. But they also agreed that the social district isn't going to work if it's just grab a beer and walk around downtown. We have to do something different. Be that food trucks, caricature artists, mimes, different events, like the block party that is put on by the record store. We should be actively looking to make an events department or events committee or something else that can put together these things that coincide with these shows, Friday night, Saturday night, but we're gonna do it, or we should be doing it Saturday day, Friday day. Something that coincides, that brings people in earlier to get that foot traffic that you're actually looking for. I also included some comments from our local businesses on these same forms. And as you go through and read those, it's pretty interesting. They think that the block party was a great idea. They loved Pumpkin Fest. I know that put a lot of money out, so I'm not asking for anything that big, but we need to start thinking differently if we're gonna make Laconia a district where people actually wanna come, walk, shop, and hang out. And we're not doing that. Even with a social district, unless there's something tied to that, I think we're all in for a major shock. I heard Charlie, and Charlie and I, we don't get along politically, but he was absolutely right 2 weeks ago when he said, we need to have the least amount of regulations on this with the most amount of benefit. So I'm asking you guys to go on that road as well.
So a lot of that regulation you're speaking about is actually written into the RSA, so there's nothing we can do about that.
That's fine, but whatever you're gonna add onto it, tack onto it, put on top of it, ice cream cone it, whatever term you wanna use, we need to rethink that. As little as possible is my answer as well, along with adding that extra oomph to it. Some of you guys may have gone to other small mill towns. There's one in Pennsylvania called Jim Thorpe. They do a great job with this. It's the exact same town that we have, an old mill town along a river. But every weekend, I was there 3 or 4 different times over the course of the summer on my motorcycle. They do something every weekend when you're down there shopping. They have mimes, statues, live statues, character artists, people playing guitars, and they do it with the donation hat, just like they do down in Boston. But it keeps people walking around, it keeps people shopping. I just ask that we look at something different and not just make it a social district. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
You have tie on?
Charlie St. Clair, Ward 3. No, I do not. But my zipper's up. I don't take issue with what Doug just said, except for, I never saw this survey and nobody asked me anything, but I will say this, and I've said that in front of this council before, that the Colonial Theater My business may not be open for those night shows, but I've had people come back the next day. Maybe they stayed overnight, maybe not, or maybe they just came back to Laconia because they like what they saw, and they've come in my business because I talk to as many people as I can in there, and they've said, yeah, I saw your window. I looked through the window the other night when I was here for the show. We decided to come back and check it out. And I know I'm not the only business that's benefiting from that. So I just want to make sure you realize that might not be open during those hours, but we're getting, at least my store is definitely getting the benefit from that. And as far as the RSAs on the social district, the mayor is right about that, but there are ways to work with them and make them more user-friendly. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? With that being said, we are going to move on to a public hearing. Public hearing is Resolution 2026-02. It's about a request for funding for milfoil treatment of Porgus Bay and Lake Opeechee. Notice of this public hearing was made available in the January 29th, 2026 issue of the Laconia Daily Sun and posted at Laconia City Hall, Laconia Community Center, Laconia Public Library, and the offices of the SAU. I am now going to open the public hearing at 7:21 PM. Would anybody like to speak? Going once. Going twice. With no discussion, I will close the public hearing at 7:21 as well. Next up, we have another public hearing. The termination of the intermunicipal agreement between the City of Laconia and the Town of Guilford governing the development of the Lakes Business Park. Notice of this public hearing was made available in the January 14th, 2026 issue of the Laconia Daily Sun and posted at the Laconia City Hall, Laconia Community Center, Laconia Public Library, and the offices of the SAU. It is now 7:22 PM, and I would like to open the public hearing. Would anybody like to speak? Yes, we have one individual.
My name is Eliza Ledbeater. I'm from the town of Guilford, but I served Belknap County for 15 years. I was the first executive director of the Belknap County Economic Development Council. I'd like tonight to thank both Laconia and Guilford for working together on the launch of the park. We needed a site back in those days, in the late 90s, to accommodate Freudenberg and also stamping technology. Freudenberg, of course, is now occupied by Scotia Technology, and I'm thrilled to see that business has expanded so, because we worked a lot with them. What is very unique, and I want to congratulate both you and the town of Guilford, is the two communities working together on a business park. It's very unusual. And I know during my time, many of my colleagues across the state would say, how did you pull that one off? You know, I'd like to thank you all those who served on both the municipalities on the board. We've lost a few of those people. But also going forward, what I would hope for is that the occupants of the park form a group. We had one for the O'Shea Industrial Park, and then they came together to make sure the park was well maintained and collectively could keep the city and the town of Guilford informed of particular needs and stuff, you know, if there were concerns about something going on. So with that, I say thank you. I also like to add that I'm very saddened to hear of the death of Paul. We worked very closely together. In fact, I have a long history. I've been retired, unfortunately, 18 years, but Paul drafted the first proposal for the use of the old state school. I worked with him on that. We had a very interesting proposal at the time. Unfortunately, the state decided to house prisoners there. But again, thank you both towns for the business park.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing at 7:25 PM. Next up, we have a presentation from Kerry Howe, Office of Extended Learning Administrator. Thank you, Kerry.
Mr. Mayor, just while she's getting set up,
Yes.
I think I just want to speak. I asked her to come in, Carrie to come in. As members, there's a few of us that are on the Learning and Career Advisory Board, and it's trying to expand what they do and working with us. They've been working with a number of our departments to try to get kids into our different departments and kind of grow their interest in municipal work. So as those discussions went on, Carrie said, it'd be great to come in and do a presentation. So thank you for having her tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, city officials, and staff. We thank you for having us present this evening. I'd like to introduce my co-presenters, Ms. Lisa Hines, who is our interim assistant superintendent of Laconia School District, and Ms. Candace Hyde, who is our extended learning coordinator in the Office of Extended Learning. Our present tonight focuses on a simple but powerful goal, making the city of Laconia a classroom for our students. Through the Office of Extended Learning, we are building a network where academics meet real-world service and career exploration. We want to share the progress we've made, the federal and state grants we've secured for the upcoming year, and the essential resources our department requires to sustain these vital community-wide connections. I do have a slideshow presentation. Okay, and I've given you a copy of the packet, as we'll go through, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to interrupt. So the mission and purpose of the Office of Extended Learning is basically, in a nutshell, to provide high-quality experiences out of classroom time. We do this through homework help, targeted supports, after-school programs, summer programs. In addition, we've been working to ensure that every student has the opportunity to participate in career-connected learning. The New Hampshire Learning Initiative showed that students who participate in at least one career-connected learning opportunity has increased hope about their future and their engagement.
So what you'll see on your next slide, the Laconia School District FLP definition. FLP is our Future Learning Pathways. It's one of what we would consider the 4 pillars of our strategic plan, along with our mission, our vision, and the portrait of the graduate. It allows us to operationalize the mission, gives us the opportunity to provide available opportunities for kids to develop confidence, to learn how to lead, how to follow, how to grow, and how to really become responsible citizens both in and out of Laconia, and to develop rewarding experiences that will lead them to a successful future. So on the next slide, what you'll see is Portrait of the Graduate. Everything started with the Portrait of the Graduate. We came together in 2018 or so, brought the community together and asked them what is really important for a Laconia graduate to know and be able to do when they leave our schools. We came together with probably about 15 different attributes, and in July of 2019, the community, about 200 community members, came together and voted on the 6 most important, and you see them there: communication, collaboration, creativity, perseverance, problem solving, and self-direction. What's really important about our Portrait of the Graduate or Portrait of the Learner is that Laconia is one of the few districts in the state that actually operationalizes their portrait not just for high school students or made it a brand to hang it on the wall. Our Portrait of the Graduate is active from pre-K through 12, and it's embedded and assessed in all of our teaching and learning activities in and out of the classroom. So teachers in their curriculum teach our students these attributes and actually check in with them and are able to show how they are learning them. And again, that's usually something you focus on. A lot of districts focus on 9 through 12. We actually do that pre-K through 12, and we've become a model district in the state and regularly have other districts coming to visit us to see how we do that. So as we move on, what are the future learning pathways? What you can see here is it tells us that we can learn anywhere. A big part of our strategic plan is differentiation and personalization in learning. We know that if we can differentiate and personalize a learning experience for a child, they'll be more engaged in that activity and the learning will escalate. It allows them to take ownership for their learning. They want to learn because they are fully engaged in those activities, and we do that by connecting them to the community. It's very interesting that the opportunities that we're able to provide through future learning pathways actually develop those ideas that students do need to understand career exploration later on. It's not just taking a field trip to the fire department or visiting the police station. We are actively engaging our students in a number of different activities in Laconia and regionally as much as we possibly can. And what this is doing for our students, we learned through some work that we did with the Search Institute, is that it will develop a higher threshold for hope and belonging for our students, letting them be able to recognize a successful future. So we've been very fortunate to really be able to strengthen those outcomes for our students.
And so this is where the Office of Extended Learning comes in. How do we support our schools with these initiatives? One of the ways we do this is by offering our summer programming and our after-school program, kind of what our Office of Extended Learning is known for. I have included in your packet the need for after-school programming in this little flyer in the state of New Hampshire, and how it supports our families, our communities, and most importantly, our students. This just gives you a quick overview of our summer programming this past summer with 251 students involved K through 12 and the community partners that we partnered with. Our after-school program that we're currently running at no cost to families is currently serving 270 Laconia students. I can share with you, we had well over 300 applicants for only 150 elementary spots. The focus is on increasing academic proficiency, career exploration, and real-world readiness. These are some of the groups that we are involved with, starting with youth and government at the high school, STEAM, e-gaming, lifetime fitness. We also have healthy living and cooking at the middle school, as far as STEM and board games, and most importantly, we brought in career play for our younger learners to get them thinking about their futures as well.
So I'm gonna say, and I apologize, I have a cold because I work K through 12. You know, I'm looking at the youth that I work with and how can they give back to the community. So this year, I worked with 8th graders all the way through 12th grade, because where are they gonna get their first jobs? Probably in the hospitality industry, right? So they are leaving with the Serve Safe Food handler after they finish this year, and they're gonna help support all of our local businesses. But then I'm also gonna say that I never had trips like these pictures when I was a kid. I was never able to operate equipment, climb a tree, learn about all these different career opportunities. The students in Laconia are doing this. And the most touching thing to me was last year, one student said, "Thank you, Miss Hyde. I now know what I want to do for a job." You know, and he wants to fight fires in the forests.
Yep. And so our office has worked really hard. I am a resident of Laconia. I raised my children here. And I, since taking this position in August 2024, have made a conscious effort with Candace by my side to make these community connections. Through our office, we support our community events such as Earth Day, the Pumpkin Festival, the Tree Lighting Festival. We encourage our groups to get involved with that. We work closely with the Laconia Parks and Rec. We're offering lifeguard training for our students to help staff our city beaches. We are working with the Laconia Fire Department for LHS job shadows. We had the Laconia Police Department and the SWAT team come and visit our elementary school over the summer and actually even just recently. We've had the STEM Mobile come down from UNH to talk to some of our students. We are currently working on, with the Laconia Fire Department and the Laconia Police Department, to begin a drone program where we hope that our high schools will receive remote pilot certification and use that to help with safety in our city. Other community, we've had multiple guest speakers come and talk to our students, the liquor commissioner, insurance. We've had healthcare management, breakaway management, helping these students realize what's waiting for them when they graduate.
I just want to add that the community is fabulous. I have never had somebody say, nope, I won't come talk to your students about car insurance. Cross Insurance comes and does that. I've never had an employer say, no, I will never let a student not have a glimpse of what it is that I do every day and help students find their career path. Everybody has been totally supportive of all of these students.
And this is why we wanted to come with you, because the Office of Extended Learning is much more than the after-school program and the summer programs. We're doing all this community and career work that City Manager Beati felt we should come and share. So, all of this leads to what we like to call from participation to purpose with our extended learning opportunities in our high school. By introducing our community students to these programs and these community businesses, we are hoping that by the time they get to high school, they begin their own future learning pathway and choose their own classes with an extended learning opportunity experience. And what that means is that they take a semester or a year-long course in, some of you might consider it kind of like a job shadow, kind of like an internship, but it's research-based within our community. And what we've spent a lot of time doing in the short time since we've been there, and I have connected this to our website, which I've also included in our packet. This is our website. Highly encourage you in your time to take a look at it. If you go to our extended learning page, you can see that we have gone out to businesses in the community and found partners for kids to work with. We are creating a database. We have Laconia Country Club offering us. I met recently with the city manager, and we talked about what opportunities we have just within City Hall. And if you click, and I'll click on one of them, you can see for the municipal operations, they can go through and look at all of the career potential opportunities and ELO opportunities that we've had. It even gives them a sample ELO plan that they can follow and gives an overview to what they have to accomplish to, and this is a credit-bearing course. So it gets them out of the school and into the community.
What we've done is we've set our 9 through 12 students up with every year an objective for the year. So when they're freshmen, we help them understand and learn more about themselves. When they're sophomores, they connect to their civic responsibility. When they're juniors, they start to explore internally in the high school the options that are available to them when they graduate. And then as seniors, we want them experiencing those opportunities. So this is one of the ways that we connect our students with their community and business partners and teachers.
Mm-hmm. What's the impact for the community? Well, the Office of Extended Learning, through these initiatives, is hoping, obviously, to improve the academic outcomes for our students and increase student engagement, but we're also trying to strengthen workforce readiness, in particular in the Laconia and surrounding communities, to foster strong community partnerships that not only benefit our students, but I think City Manager Beati can tell you that I often will say to the community members in our Learning Career Advisory Board, what can we do for you? How can we help you? And to create that give and take relationship. And all this is done through grant funding and sustainability. Our biggest grant that funds our office, is the 21st Century Grant. That is a federally funded grant. And we also have the NHLI grant, the Out of School Time Career Pathways Grant. I have a little bit of a breakdown just to show you how much we are funded by a grant. So as you can see, our biggest contributor at almost 79% is that 21st Century Grant. The NHLI grant, which was a 5-year grant for $50,000, that ended December 2025. That allowed us to do a lot of the field trips during the day, like Manufacturing Day or the forest.
New Hampshire Forestry, New Hampshire Construction Days.
Correct. The 21st Century Grant, although it's a great grant, it is very, very specific about when you can utilize that money, and it has to be out of school time. That doesn't always benefit our high school students, which is why we supplemented with the NHLI grant. We recently applied for and got a grant for Farm to School, which allowed 2 flex farms that are currently in our elementary schools to work to help grow and work with our farmers in the region. We also received a Get Outside grant, which we used to purchase for the middle school summer program paddle boards and life jackets to explore Lake Opeechee. And then you could see the Laconia School District really only funds us 3%. So we are a heavily grant-funded program. Looking ahead, what we're going to try to do is we want to expand our community partnerships. One of the reasons we wanted to come here today is we're hoping people see this and reach out. We want to have an even bigger database for our students. We want to increase career pathways and enhance our access, enhance the access for our students K through 12, but we really need to ensure long-term sustainability. In the current climate of federal grants, we never know what's coming, and even so if that grant gets pulled, our office, we're in a lot of trouble. I can tell you that we are in our 4th year of that 5-year grant, and after next year, when we reapply, they are changing that grant where we have to apply per school, and there are some schools that may not qualify. So you may have some of these programs at maybe 2 elementary schools, but then not another. So we're looking for ways to overcome that. We have been applying for private grants. It's been very difficult because we are not,
5013C.
Yep.
so it makes it very difficult for us to do that. But that's really what we wanted to come and share with you, how we are funded, what we do, and really just get any feedback from the council, from the city about how we can do our job better.
Well, I'm going to say everything I see here is absolutely excellent.
Thank you.
I love the career paths. I love the engagement with the community. I think this is a very worthwhile program. And I think we do need to be a little concerned about the grant funding for it and how we can continue forward. But
think
do you have
families-
any state grants in there? I didn't see any state grants. It was
No,
all feds.
families of Laconia have relied on Office of Extended Learning for probably about 20 years. And to know that the grant funding is changing and will be maybe only eligible for some schools and not all, it could be catastrophic for some of the families and what they rely on the programming for,
Could be.
whether it be after school or summer programming even.
I can say as a parent of 3 students who went through Laconia School District, fortunately, all of them went to school, but I am saddened at the cost of higher education. And I am saddened that some of our students, that might not be the path for them. And if Laconia High School is one of the schools that isn't funded in the future, all that career work, all that ELO, all those IRCs, we won't be able to provide those opportunities.
Do you know how many students are coming out of this program that are going into like the trades and work like that, or the fire service, or?
So like I said, I just took over the position in August of 2024, but we are in the process of putting all that data together right now. We do have a list of how many students did ELOs, the success stories. I can tell you we had an ELO on communications from one of our students who went on to college, who actually did the Paris Olympics, and he was a communicator. So we have all that data and all that
I'd
stories.
love
I
to see
didn't
that
bring them
data at
today.
some
I
point.
would
Yeah.
be happy to come back and share and bring some students, actually.
I would love to see that and actually hear from the students that were successful in the program. I think that would be key.
If I could just jump in, we had a student last year that they identified, was interested in the construction world, you know, that sort of job track. He graduated high school, was still 17, was hired by the city at DPW, we had to wait about a month before we could do any real training with him because he hadn't even turned 18 yet. And now he's working with us, you know, and it was graduation, start working, and go. And those, I'd love to see those kind of grow.
Me too. I think that's a
Yeah.
huge asset to the community and to the children. Councilor Susie.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Hi.
I think this is great, fantastic, everything else like that. But I wonder about just one question. and
Sure.
I didn't see, okay, I didn't see anything in here in reference to the services. You know, like Navy, Army, those kinds of things. Do those people ever get involved with you? Because I know they do a lot of recruiting at the high school age, and a lot of kids, and somebody here said it, I've got a grandson right now who's not a college kid, so he went into the Marine Corps, and he's gonna make a career out of it. And, you know, I've seen so many good things come out of kids that do that, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if those industries, or whatever you wanna call it, okay, are part of this, or they've been part of this, or can they not be?
Absolutely. They are in the high school. It's just that the guidance department at the high school works very much to bring
Right,
bring
they-
in.
They are regularly scheduled, almost on a weekly basis. Different branches of the service are on a regular basis. We have them all the time when we bring in colleges. We also have the services come in and meet with students during those college fairs and even our business fairs that we have and job fairs. They're always there for that.
You know,
They're
things
very
like the
strong
state,
presence.
National Guard and stuff like that, they probably have programs for kids, not kids, you know, high school kids to do things. I don't know, I'd have to ask Rob, he's the expert.
Yeah, we do. The Office of Extended Learning works very closely in conjunction with the high school guidance department and also the Hewitt Learning Center, the Hewitt Tech Center. It's just that our office doesn't do that, so I didn't mention it tonight, but they do.
Today, I would encourage every kid to go trades.
Yeah,
all
me
the
too.
way, Okay?
And to that, I'll say we are working really closely with New Hampshire JAG and My Turn that provide funding and support for our students to explore these trades and come out with credentials and certificates to then go and work in.
That's great, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody up?
Might
Councilor?
add that you talked about the success stories, and putting that data together not only would give everyone here and the community much more substance, but could help you with your grant funding.
Yeah, we'd be happy to definitely. We wanted to give a quick overview tonight, but I would love the opportunity to come back and present that data and bring some students with us.
Anyone else? Councilor Conant?
I'd just like to thank you very much for the work that you do.
Thank
You're molding the future of our city with these young folks, and it's extremely important. Those of us that are parents and have been through it can relate, and I just thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you. We love it. We love Laconia.
We do.
No, thank you. I mean, I know you guys don't hear it enough, but you do a lot for our children and our future, and we all appreciate it.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Next. Oh, mayor's report. So tomorrow I have a meeting with the CEO of Concord Hospital Laconia, or Concord Hospital as a whole, so I will be filling everybody in on how that goes. City Manager Biotti and I also had a meeting with the CEO of Spectacle. Things are moving along very, very well with that, and we'll keep you posted on where that goes. I also met with Senator Shaheen's team this week, looking at possibilities for some federal funding to help us out with infrastructure and other needs. So we're gonna be looking into that as well. And that's pretty much all I've had so far. We're on to council comments. Does any councilor have a comment? Councilor Bogut?
Thank you. Usually they start this way and gives
Oh.
me a minute, but that's okay. The first thing, when you meet with the hospital, could you remind them that moving snow at 3 in the morning and dumping it in that extra parking lot is probably not part of their agreement? And I've had just about every resident on Lafayette Street calling me and sending me interesting emails and stuff because they were woke up at 3 o'clock, 3:30, 3:45. They specifically from dump trucks rattling around in that back parking lot and stuff. So if you could please do me that favor. And
Just wrote it down.
for all the residents of Lafayette, would appreciate that. Number two, with the infrastructure, the gas infrastructure, natural gas and stuff, I've been working with BIA to kind of ask questions from their perspective to Liberty, who runs the natural gas lines and stuff. And I'm having him clarify a price because they came up with a price it would take to run the line all the way up to Laconia from where it stopped just outside of Loudon. So we are working on that actively, trying to solve that problem. Just wanted to let everybody know it's not going on deaf ears. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Susie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This past week, I think most of us, or not all of us, know, the legislature passed the bill that was, I think, initiated by Representative Sinclair and supported and co-signed by Representative Bogarts and Rep. Boards on naming the new 911 center after our former chief and who was the director of 911 for 24 years, who started it. So that's gone through the legislature. Now it's headed to the Senate. And you hear all kinds of different rumors, okay? But I would like to ask the council to support maybe the city manager and staff to put together a letter sent it to all the senators in the state, including the president of the Senate, supporting the naming of the 911 center after Chief Cheney. Okay, as maybe not everybody knows, he was the only one that I could find in the research that ever built a center like that, or built the whole program, turned it on, and came in for a politician, really, or for a department head, under budget and ahead of schedule. So, I mean, that alone is worth the gold medal, okay? But I really like to see us support that, okay? That would be my request, Mr. Mayor.
No problem.
We
As you
get a
know, I'm a
con-
co-sponsor, so I have no
Right,
objection to that.
consensus from the council to ask the city manager to move ahead with that?
Yeah, if you guys just give me consensus, I can write a letter and get it sent off to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do that.
I
Councilor
think
Hilger.
that, if I'm not mistaken, that went through the House unanimously.
Oh, yeah, it was a voice vote, yeah. So it was, yeah,
There's
it was
one
unanimous.
senator that's not very supportive.
Well, let's not discuss that. Anybody else? Councilor Cronin.
Yes, I would just like to give a shout out to the Water Department, who handled a significant water main break. It was a 6-inch cast iron pipe that was installed in 1964. But with the technology they have in place, they were able to identify they had a problem at midnight on the 4th of February. And by identifying it that early, they were able to tackle it starting, I think they discovered exactly where it was roughly at 6 a.m. And they worked throughout the day to rectify that situation, as it did affect a lot of our people that use water from Laconia but are actually in Belmont. But they worked diligently to get it done, and they did. And I just want to make sure that they get the recognition they deserve.
They did an excellent job, so I agree with you. Anybody else?
Can I add on to that,
Go ahead,
please?
Councilor Susie.
Sure, I'd like to, Mike, excuse me, Councilor Connor, one thing I'd like to do is, if there's a way for the council to support the water department, to put in the bypass that we talked about a few minutes ago, that goes up over through Academy, and I think Councilor Haynes is also aware of it, because I think that's, because that services such a large area, including St. Francis and into Belmont and everything else like that, we should push that, and if the council needs to support it in some way, I think that'd be a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, nobody else? All right. Do we have any committee reports this? We do.
I've got a few.
Oh.
So,
Oh, we're going to cut you off at one. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, Councilor Susie.
within the last couple of weeks, the Finance Committee got together, and we had a few topics, but the two I think that are relevant, just to give you an update. And I know that you met this past week, last week, with the President of Spectacle. We also had a discussion about that. And one of the things is that we want to just move forward with your approval, Mr. Mayor, is I'd like to have the city council put forth that we will form as a part of the city council committees, a new advisory board for the Colonial Theater, okay? I know it's in, I know it's in the contract, but I'd like to do it as, like we do all of our other committees, come through the appointments board, they come to the city council for approval. So it becomes part of the city council, and we have with the oversight, okay?
So
Not to go too deep, okay? And our goal is to reserve, our goal coming out of our meeting was we wanted to reserve more nights for the city. And I know you've had that discussion with them. And, and we want to, our committee also wished that we could find more nights that are available so we could use maybe promoters or shows that us or some of our citizens or anybody who's got experience and wants to bring forth to that, okay? And we know the manager is finalizing an agreement that will prepare for the whole council to take a look at over the next couple of meetings and address things like the maintenance and stuff like that, okay? So, I mean, we just, from the finance department, from the finance committee, we just want to support you and the mayor, the manager, and what you guys are doing, and work with us, and we'll try to help you also.
Let me just ask the city manager what he just discussed as far as the council goes, for the Colonial.
Yes.
I know that's in the agreement. Isn't that already a council committee?
It's appointed by the council. It was named, it was a 5-year contract, 5.5 years. It was named about 2.5 years into it. They report, the way it works, both reports to the it advises the council and myself on making decisions moving forward. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be, now that you guys have sat, adjusting that to fit this council's request for who they want on there.
Okay, perfect.
Right, the reason I asked, Mr. Mayor, is I had this discussion with the previous mayor at some length.
Okay.
Okay, and the board that's there now was appointed by him. I'd rather see that go through our normal committee appointment situation process.
I am perfectly fine with that.
And we can take it up at one of our future council meetings, as far as how many people, et cetera, okay? And do something like that, because the last one was not done that way.
Is that in the contract we're working on? Is that still part of it?
So it is, and in the proposal that I'm kind of working through the final draft on, I've included that it would go through the appointments committee as a regular committee, so.
Perfect.
I actually added that sentence into that for that reason.
Okay?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Next one.
The next item.
Yeah, you said you had a few.
I've been busy, so. The next item is under the Finance Committee also. We'll be starting working with the city manager, probably sometime in early March and all, on workshops for looking towards the 2026 budget, 2027 budget, okay? We're gonna be tackling things like the tax cap and a few other things that we wanna dive into, and we'll bring them to the full council, okay? And, for more discussion and determination and all, okay? So that's the next thing on Finance Committee. I can keep going if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay. Just to give everybody an idea on public safety. And on public safety, which includes the police department, I want to focus on that one for a second. We, the chief and the police commission hired 2 more officers a couple weeks ago, okay? 2 ladies, okay? One of them has got some significant experience and only has to go through the law section of the academy, which has
Saves us money.
saves us quite a bit of money, time, and et cetera, and having been there and done that, I think it's great, okay? And the other thing is that, I'm just looking for it to read it, but we've had significant reduction and the amount of, you might say opioid related.
I've seen those statistics
Okay.
for that, yep.
And it's, oh, and I'm gonna give you the exact numbers as soon as I can find my page that I had printed out, I hope. But it's been significant. Our department's done very well with that, okay? I mean, it was a regular, almost like weekly thing for a while, and they worked very, very hard to bring that down to, I mean, almost negligible. I think there was only 2 real bad, I'd say, results over the last year. So I think it's great, and I want to commend the police department for that. My next one would be, have to do with the appointments committee. We met last week, we'll be meeting again this week. We interviewed a few people earlier this week, and we'll have some more, last week, we'll have some more this week. We'll probably come to you maybe for the next council meeting, if not the one afterwards, with some recommendations, okay? And then the last one is, so you'll know, is Pumpkin Fest. We got our financial report. As Mr. Smith would say, there might be a couple of stragglers behind, but I don't think there's any more. So Pumpkin Fest in 2025, we had a loss, or you might say a contribution. We have to cover about $3,000, which I think for the amount of people that came to the city, the good time that was represented and all, was awesome, okay? And talking with the city manager as late as today, and we're looking forward to next year because there's a couple of things that we're doing. Naturally, it's gonna be Friday, late Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and Saturday on the 24th, 25th of October. And we're gonna add some other things to that. We wanna hopefully work with lighting, the social districting, all kinds of different things. But we're meeting on a regular basis. We've already started it off. We've contacted a lot of our vendors that were here last year. We have a lot more people that wanna get involved. We have one large company that wants to take over the sponsorship of a big thing, which would be very, very thing. And we know, we've had some crazy discussions. We know that next year, next fall, is gonna be a big political electoral opportunity. So we're talking about the area going down Main Street night between the parking garage and the stores. We call that political alley.
Just have all the candidates out there?
Okay, and so things like that, but we know we're thinking about multiple different things, so.
Thank you.
That's it for me for now.
Anybody else? Councilor Bogut.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public Works Subcommittee did meet, and some of the items that were discussed were a review of the winter parking ban, and what was being recommended was, the request was to kind of not have a permanent parking ban, but just winter weather parking ban called. And what was agreed upon, and I guess they're going to be working on it from the city manager's office, is changing the date. I do believe it was discussed
Yes, it was.
November 15th.
No, not, it was the date and the time, I believe. The dates from November 15th to April 15th.
April
right?
15th, right.
Okay.
Thank you for that. And then we discussed the vehicle strikes over on Lexington. That's ongoing because that's part of a bigger issue, we think. And we've requested that the city manager's office look into what the cost and the implications would be on adding speed tables. We're not sure exactly locations and if that's even feasible. We're in the looking stage now to look at that. We did have several residents come to speak with their concerns about Holman Ave and Shore Drive. And so we're looking at all the different options. Some signs, I guess, on one of the roads approaching Lexington is on a hill, and the stop sign's on the other side of the hill, and it creates some issues. So we're looking at different ways, maybe a flashing warning sign, not so bright that it's gonna ignore, it's gonna blind the neighborhood, but enough so that if you're approaching it, you might have a solution. So that's ongoing, but I did want everybody to know that it's being looked at, and we're waiting for feedback when they have it from Public Works and the city manager's office.
Perfect, thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, well,
Counselor Haynes.
to add to the Public Works meeting, there was a discussion about Old Prescott Road and Belmont Road, and I'll give you for councilors that aren't the new councilors.
I'm sorry, you're the chair. I apologize.
Yeah. The residents of Briarcrest initially were allowed to turn left onto Old Prescott Road in Laconia. When the Lilac condominiums or housing proposal came in, there was an agreement that no one could find when it was or who signed it or whatever, but the city manager said it did exist, okay? They cannot make a left-hand turn onto Old Prescott Road now, and it's closed to one-way, which causes a lot of problems, not only with Public Works, but with fire and emergency services. And the residents are now forced to go into Belmont and make a left-hand turn on Old Prescott Road. And at the same time, there is an entrance and an exit for the gas station on top of Prescott Hill, okay? And that has caused major accidents. We lost a police cruiser there, excuse me. So it's been ongoing conversation, so I asked the city manager to have a discussion with the state, which they have agreed to, and the agreement, if we go forward with it, the city will have to pay for the engineering study. Am I correct?
Correct. They said they're willing to look at it. They haven't agreed to do anything, but they said they're not gonna do the engineering study. If that was something we wanna do, they'd at least look at the results. I can't guarantee anything after the results, but we do have an engineering firm that we use for this type of work, and we'll be able to at least get something pulled up to say, you know, is it feasible to change back to the old way?
Yeah, and I think that would be acceptable. Okay. Also, there was a discussion of making Clay Street a one-way street. Clay Street runs parallel with Court Street and Academy. It's a very extremely narrow street. The engineer was looking into what the actual width was, but it's so narrow that it's very difficult to get a fire apparatus in there, and it's also, the residents have to put their trash containers on one side. Cannot do both sides of the street. It doesn't allow that for the trash disposal trucks. Again, this is just a recommendation. It'll come before the council. Okay, so the one-way would be from Bowman Street onto Fair, and if you remember right, Fair Street's one-way anyways, so it wouldn't interfere with traffic there. So that again was a recommendation. The other recommendation was there was concern about the crosswalk in front of the courthouse. And there's a crosswalk that's right next to the next crosswalk that goes across Academy Street. That was referred to Public Works because we had a great discussion about that, but we didn't come to any conclusion on what could be done, because we're also looking at the 3 lanes that come to the traffic light, and people really don't slow down there either. So, and the other thing that we looked at was Pleasant Street and Havenwood, that section. It seems the industrial park traffic decides to get on Pleasant Street past the elementary school as a shortcut, and we really haven't. We've met with the neighbors back, I believe it was in the summer of, yeah. And we still, so that has been referred still back to committee. So I think that just about sums up the Public Works Committee.
Thank you. Counselor Bogert.
I would just like to apologize. I misspoke. I do apologize. I'm very busy, but I misspoke. Counselor Haynes is the chair of that committee, and he should have spoke on behalf of all that. So I do want to apologize for that.
We appreciate that.
problem.
Does anybody else have anything? Counselor Hildreth?
Yeah, with the Lexington Ave stop sign where there was the vehicle strike, have you looked, I know Counselor Bogart made a comment of or made mention of a flashing light. Could there be a sign that just says road ends 150 feet or
Either
something?
that or a sign, either that, Counselor Hill, just a sign that shows that Lexington doesn't go through the house. It goes-
Right.
It goes around the house.
It goes to the right.
Yeah, the
Caution, house ahead.
The problem is that, and I've been there several times and spoken with the owners, and the end of, what is it, that hits Lexington? Linwood. Linwood is a certain width, and almost directly across the street is this person's property that has a two-car garage and then another car space to the right. So it's almost identically the same size of the road. And it matches perfectly. I will say that the chief of police looked back and with Kirk, and there hasn't been a strike there in 5 years. They had heard there had been multiple strikes there. This was, I think, a rather, just
Yeah, rarity.
yeah.
All right. Next up, we have the liaison reports. Do we have any report for that? Seeing none, we're going to move on to citizens' requests to comment on current agenda items. I'd like to keep this to a maximum of 2 minutes a speaker. If anybody has a request about items currently on the agenda. Nobody has anything to say. Wow. Seeing none, we're going to move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of things before I get into my normal report. Court Street, where the work was done the other day, we'll have a paving done tomorrow. It'll only get us into the spring. It is a winter paving, so they'll do a much better job in the spring when the plants open back up. But they should be able to do a much better job keeping it through from now until then, as opposed to driving on the dirt. So that'll be tomorrow. Signs have been put up down there for that. Also related to that, we have been looking at, we had some concerns over getting notification out. We used our city's website, which if you subscribe to our alerts, it does go out. But we're trying to do a better job. And one of the things we're looking at is whether one of the police department has a system that's not really subscribed to a lot. It's looking to see if that's better. We're hoping to have one that is customizable. So, maybe if something's happening in the weirs, maybe everybody doesn't need it. That type of specificity, but we're not sure. But we are looking at that to try to make that a little bit better moving forward. One of my requirements is I do appoint a treasurer. With the change that we talked about last week in the finance department, that triggered us to have to appoint a new treasurer because the person that was doing the role is moving into a finance position that doesn't allow them to also be the treasurer. So I've named Wes Anderson as our treasurer, and he's a city resident and also a city employee, but he's a city resident. So he will be taking that role on within the next couple of months, if not sooner. RFPs, I get asked this question a couple times. The lights, we're just waiting on the return for the parking lot lights that go down into Rotary Park. They could be coming in any time now. We're just waiting for those. We should see them relatively shortly. And the bandstand one for the weirs is out. That is due back tomorrow. So waiting to see what we get back for those. The last thing I have before I move on to my normal report, as you guys have seen, there's been a lot of subcommittees and a lot of extra work going on, so we haven't had a chance to do the goal setting. I will be sending out to you guys some dates, hopefully mid-March, so you guys can host your goal setting, which we do every 2 years with the new council. Love to get that done prior to budget season, so the hope will be to get that in March. I'll send out some dates tomorrow and, see if we're able to get that worked out, and then we'll get it advertised. Your financial and operational trends report, I'm gonna move relatively quickly through it. It's in your packet. There hasn't been a whole lot of changes. The building construction numbers are there. Obviously, we're looking at that high. We do still make an adjustment to those, so it'll be coming down, but it is still a very good year for us. All the other ones on that page are relatively the same. We did see another $18,000 a month general assistance for welfare. If this stays as is, we'll probably be in the $30,000 to $40,000 overspent in that range, which we put a lot extra into it a couple years ago. We were much more over in the budget. We did add some to that, which certainly helped. But, we still got 5 months left to go to see how that actually finally plays out. Police department numbers are about the same, no real big changes there. Property tax collection is on par where we should be. The overtime line is in there. You can see, we do have a couple that are pushing towards the end of what they normally fund at. A lot of that comes in the form of vacancies that are being filled. So as we get towards the end of the year, we look at salaries and how we adjust that, and oftentimes, as we would hope, if you're not spending the money on salaries because you have to backfill, until you can get those filled, it will offset some of those costs. So we keep a close eye on that, especially once we turn the corner at the first of the year, so we are doing that. Motor vehicle registration and Parks and Recreation are pretty standard where we are right now. It's not in your thing, I am working on one grievance. I can't really discuss it, it's a personnel issue, but I am working on one, but right now there's no cost on it as we stand right now. Impact fees, see the numbers that are in there. When we start talking through the budget and you start seeing capital improvement, what you're gonna see when I present to you, and any of you who sat on any of those committees, there was a lot more things on our capital improvements request this year. That was done intentionally, so we can go back and dip into the impact fees to try to pay for some of those. So I asked them to put more out and more in there. And we brought the school in this year, which for the first time, that they, in as long as I can remember, they may have done it at some point, for those same reasons. So, we are working through all those. There's no changes to your reserve balances, no change to the TIF summary, relatively unchanged in the TIF summary, other than we're spending it down. But the year-end budgeted is unchanged. General fund expenditures are right around where we would expect them at this time. We were hoping to have a presentation on the EMS budget, the EMS billing. The deputy chief EMS was out of state for this week's meeting. We are going to get that rescheduled. We're going to bring the fire chief, the EMS, the deputy chief that's in charge of EMS, as well as our community paramedic, the mobile integrated health care professional, in to give a little presentation even before the budget season, just to talk specifically about the EMS revenues. Until our storm last weekend, we were still about $30,000 to the positive in our total winter maintenance budget. Overtime was in the negative, but overall, obviously, we've spent that now. Last weekend's storm will be enough to take us in the negative all around. What I will say is that if we get to this point, and we've done this in the past, we don't do anything immediately to fix that. We look at how the total budget for that department is playing out for the course of the year. If we're able to use other lines to fill those holes, we do that. If we get to a point at the end of the year where that whole budget is now gonna be overspent. We do have the reserve account that, both between you and the trustees of the trust can dip into to use to help offset that. But we're not in a position where we're ready to say this amount of money has to be used at this point. But we'll have that conversation, over the course of the next few months.
So, excuse me. Go ahead. So even, and the question might come up from somebody, just so we answer it, even if we over budget or we overspend, when that's not gonna affect any services.
No, there'll be no affected services.
Thank you.
And also,
Councilor Hildreth.
is your salt back up? Is the situation rectified with the salt?
It's not perfect. We do have salt though, and we'll continue to order more. I don't remember if I brought this up, but there was a shipping issue. So we're not 100% where we should be, but we're better. It was weird to see the trucks driving around when it was in the issue because they were mixing salt and sand.
Yep.
You haven't seen sand mounted on top of the trucks in a long time, except for certain roads. So it was kind of went back a little bit old school there.
Councilor Bogert.
Yeah, just two questions. The first question goes back up to the top, the building permits. It's showing that we got approximately 93 million in value there, but the comment is that that's going to get adjusted. Do you have a wag at what that might be in reality?
Probably in the, I wouldn't be surprised if we're upwards around 80
80?
when it's all done. That's kind of the, I'm not putting all my eggs into that basket, but that's, if I had to take a shot in the dark. Yeah, a wag at it. Not sure if that's a southern term or not, but I'll say.
It could be a something.
So, yeah, that would be
So
my
about 80?
guess.
And you had a follow-up.
And a follow-up, please. And with the downtown TIF and the 625,000, I think it was, that's held currently, is 644. And looking at the lighting RFP, are we trying to hold that, or is, how much of that is committed of the 644? And what would that leave us? And then, so we know how we're gonna pay for that, because that's the lighting. If, I don't even wanna predict what that cost would be, but
If I may, was that the lighting that we just talked about the river, or is that the complete downtown we talked about? Right.
no, it's the one for the parking lots here and Rotary Park.
I think the city manager
That match.
was trying to get money to do, for example, the downtown, like Canal Street,
Yep.
okay? I know it's two separate items, I just want to make sure that we're going to look at both.
No, it's not the Canal Street lights. These are the,
The lighting for the parking lots and down into Rotary Park. So the 644 is what we started at. We added another 325. We budgeted out the 512. So when you do the math out there, that's what we have remaining. We don't have any major
Commitment.
projects. We do have some commitments just based on the long-term stuff that we commit to through the downtown. But there's nothing new that we haven't identified yet.
okay. I just want to keep bringing that
Yeah,
up.
no,
So
no,
that,
that's-
the whole thought behind that lighting project was we had cash already and we didn't have to go do any special financing deal to do it. It was available, cash on hand.
And we're gonna know a lot more as soon as we get those in.
Right,
So
there's actually, I believe there's two RFPs, and one that you're talking about and one that I'm talking about. Same way.
On Canal Street.
Well, not Canal, Main Street.
Main Street,
All the way
yeah.
through, including the political throat.
Political highway.
The rates are going up for that, for the pumpkin.
You know, I support that myself in the facts that I think the more we can enhance our downtown, the better off we are in conjunction with everything else that we're doing. I think we're showing, the council has shown that it has a positive approach to our downtown. And it's just a marvelous approach, refreshing for a change. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Great. Now we're on to new business. Agenda item 21A, ordinance 2026-235-41, 70, amending chapter 235 zoning relative to Article 7, supplementary provisions, section 235-41, residential accessory uses, and Article 9, zoning board of adjustment, section 235-70, powers and duties of zoning board of adjustment. The proposed amendment is intended to address conflicting and confusing language within the short-term lodging regulations. Has everybody had a chance to look this over?
Yep, Mr. Mayor, if I just can, we do have the planning department here that can fill in any gaps, any questions. What I will say is there's two potential sets of motions. Planning director and I had discussions this morning. Tonight, you guys are having your discussion. There is an option to send it back to the planning board first, but after we worked through this, our recommendation is that you have your discussion tonight, send it to a public hearing. After your public hearing, you can make your adjustments, send it, then would like to send it back to planning board. I think we added an extra step. If we don't do it that way, this kind of makes it, it's still gonna have to come back to you even after it goes back to them.
Yep.
Land use regulations have a lot of, there's a
Back
lot
and
of public
forth.
hearings on these and
Yeah.
a lot of moving parts, so, I don't know if you have any questions for them, but they're here for.
Does
anything you have.
anybody have any
And
questions?
any suggestions you'd like to see.
Counselor Susie, smiling away.
So in other words, this is not a final decision. It'll come back to us again.
It's going to go to a public hearing. You'll have more discussion after the public hearing. Then you'll send something to the planning board. They will have a public hearing and do their piece. And then then it'll come back to you for the final approval.
Okay.
And this sounds good to you both?
Yep.
Okay.
Do you,
Counselor Hoffman?
So as the city council liaison to the zoning board, I just want to say that this has been a long time coming, and it is sorely needed to give the zoning board greater power to make judgment calls on these based on the areas that people are proposing to use as short-term lodging. I think there's been a lot of cases where the zoning board did not have the leeway to deny some that have been approved. I think looking through this takes out a lot of the gray area, and it really makes it gives the zoning board the ability to preserve the character of neighborhoods, because a lot of cities in the state have this issue where, you get a few short-term rentals in a neighborhood and it changes the character of the neighborhood. All of a sudden, you're living in a different place. And I think this gives us the control to actually plan the city. Everything's a balance between people's property rights and our ability to plan and uphold a existing plan of a city. But I think this restores the balance in a way that I think makes
Can you
sense.
tell the state that, please?
The only suggestion I'd like to see changed is, I would like to see residential single-family zones put in the list of zones where this is not allowed at all. That's all I got.
I think we're gonna, I'd probably move to have a public meeting on this, so we could discuss that.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask if they got that. Is there any feedback from the planning department on what Council Hoffman wants to put in?
We do understand that we're trying to preserve housing stock, and we are very supportive of whatever direction the city council wants to drive us in. I think that there's definitely options about areas we want to preserve and areas that we want to say it's okay in. So it's really up to the council of what they want to, what areas they want to preserve. I can see stuff from both sides. There's the property rights who want to preserve those for all the residents and give them at least the option to do short-term lodging. Well, there's also the bit that you want to preserve the housing stock for field-line residents. So there's a delicate line to be, it's a delicate level the balance, and I'm sure that you'll make the right decision in whatever call you make, and I'm very supportive of that.
Counselor Bogart.
I just wanted to say I do support that idea of removing that from the available and putting it into not available for short-term rental. So I do support Counselor Hoffman in that approach.
Counselor Susie.
I'd like to see that put in, so when this goes to a public hearing, that's in there.
So
I'm not sure if you can or not, but
if you want to give us the feedback, we can make notes right on here so we can revise the language.
That's what I'm asking.
And have that right ready for the public hearing. So if you would like to add in a specific zone that you'd like to make it not permitted in, we can draft that in right now, so that way we'd do the change and then have that posted online for tomorrow. And